Hey guys, welcome to Sportitude Running. My name is Josh and today I've got a very exciting shoe review for you. And right in front of me here, I've got the Brooks Glycerin 20. And just the other side of my microphone, I've got the Brooks Glycerin 19. So today's review, we go through all the key aspects of what makes this shoe great. Outsole, midsole, and upper. Compare it to where it was last year with the 19. Give you all the information that you need at home to, who knows, maybe make this your next shoe purchase. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay guys, the Brooks Glycerin franchise has been and will always be a really cushioned neutral running shoe. So not to confuse you at home, Brooks tried to confuse us a couple of seasons ago, but however, there is a Glycerin and there's a Glycerin GTS. The Glycerin GTS is a shoe that's engineered for mild overpronators, so someone who's requiring a little bit of arch support as they transition through mid-stance. The Glycerin 20 is designed for a neutral to mildly supinated foot type. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, hit this link up here and we'll take you through to a video which helps, we help you, identify different foot types out there and what your foot type might be. But as I touched on, this shoe here is designed with cushioning in mind. It's a shoe that you'll be purchasing for plenty of kilometers out the road. It could be a shoe that you'll be spending most of your miles. So if you're looking to take your training to the next level, you've got a lightweight shoe to complement your short tempo quicker runs, and you're really looking for that shoe to provide ultimate comfort for your easy days, well, the Glycerin is certainly one that you could consider. Okay guys, let's jump into the fun part of this review. Let's start talking about what makes this shoe great. So first things first, I'm going to talk about the upper. The Brooks family have, and over the last couple of years, have made fantastic uppers. I've not shirked away from that point. I love what they do with their upper technology. I feel that they're one brand that's just becoming really consistent with executing a really good conform fit up top. So if we look at the key aspects first things first, let's dial in the heel counter. So you got a really good solid heel counter at the back of this shoe. So the heel counter's purpose is to provide plenty of support for that heel when you make contact with the ground. So whether it be heel striking or midfoot striking, you want to make sure that heel stays nice and locked in. This little guy does a great job at the back, but to complement the amount of support you do get, Brooks do a fantastic job. The collar of their shoes are elite. I've said that time and time again. Nothing has changed with the Glycerin 20. Really good amount of memory foam, so you get a good, conformed, comfortable fit around the back of your heel. But this soft touch material is really, really light, plush. Love it. Really, really good heel counter. Coming through to the mid part of this shoe, I feel for me, the shoe itself has been ever so slightly reduced, potentially in overall depth. Not a huge amount, but especially across the arch, I find that it'd be a little bit more secure. I didn't mind the fit of the 19s at all, but I feel that I've got this one really dialed in. The other great thing about the Glycerin franchise is the amount of technology we have, or the Glycerin 20 that is, the amount of technology we have on the medial side. While it is designed for a neutral foot type, there is obviously a tendency that can pull towards that medial side, and the weave on top of this shoe is really dialed in, a little bit more conform to what we found with last year's 19, and that as you come through to the forefoot, a relatively roomy toe box, not excessively roomy like, for example, your 1080 from New Balance, but a good amount of wriggle room through that front half, and that's more due to the fact that 3D fit print, which is technology they've used since Glycerin 18, 19, and now the 20, but every single year they just take it to the next level, and I really do think this is the best upper they have produced over the last couple of years. Okay, let's talk all things outsole with the Brooks Glycerin 20. First things first, there is plenty of surface area underneath the foot through here, so they have increased the amount of shoe underneath the body with the Glycerin 20 in comparison to last year's 19. And the other noticeable change is the thickness of outsole. It's a little bit thinner on this year's Glycerin 20 in comparison to last year. And the reason Brooks have done that is more due to the fact the technology in the midsole has changed quite a bit. And we'll get to that in 2 ticks. But dialing into those key features as well, we have a little bit more of a change in the flex grooves in the forefoot, so more of a vertical slit and that front half in comparison to last year where Brooks used the horizontal flex grooves through the front half. And again, that's more due to the performance of the midsole. So talking all things midsole, let's jump to that right now. So the Brooks Glycerin is a very cushioned shoe. That is why this shoe has been so popular now for 2 decades, and that's probably why it's going to be popular for another 2. First thing we'll talk about is the statistics of this shoe. So it's a 10mm heel to toe drop. It is exactly the same as last year. 26 in the heel and 16 through the forefoot. It's the same for both men's and women's. But the biggest change is the foam we have underneath the body. So Brooks have rolled out a new technology now in their midsoles for a couple of seasons. We've seen a little bit of a change with the Hyperion Tempo, the Hyperion Elite, and ever so recently, or roughly about 12 months ago, I should say, they launched a shoe called the Brooks Aurora. Now, that shoe was not going to have a long shelf life. It was there to make a big impact, to introduce you to their new midsoles before the Glycerins landed. Now, a little thing called COVID got in the way, some production issues, and that whole story and handover wasn't quite executed as well as Brooks would have planned. But hey, it happened, and we're here and we're dealing with it now. But the DNA Loft version 3 midsole is a nitrogen-infused midsole. So what does that mean in comparison to last year? Well, it's a lighter construction, so not quite as heavy on the foot. It's a little bit softer, and it's most certainly more springy through the forefoot. So when you're looking at a shoe like this, you definitely want it to be cushioned. I mean, that's why you're buying a Glycerin. You want to protect your joints, you want to protect your body when you're landing on the ground. But to have a shoe that has a little bit of pop in a mileage shoe is almost like a cherry on top. It's just a really good value add. The 19s was not a dead shoe through the forefoot. It actually had a really good exit. I liked it. A lot of customers downstairs liked it. However, when you take it to the next level, this shoe has a really, really nice release. So the whole midsole from entry to mid stance to toe off, this shoe is ticking a lot of boxes. It's a very stable shoe, more due to the extra surface area. It's plenty cushioned enough, and it's also nice and responsive through the forefoot. To give you some context around where the Glycerin 20 sits, if you're a runner that's used the Nimbus franchise before, so either the 23 or the current 24, Saucony Triumph 18, 19 or the new 20, I would certainly say you could have a look at the Glycerin 20s. And of course, if you come from the 19s, I'm fairly confident that you're going to like what Brooks are doing with the 20s. I mean, it's a bit of a different fit and feel on the foot, but I reckon you'll really enjoy what Brooks have done. Lighter weight and a really snappy feel through toe off. And to just throw another shoe in the mix, I would even consider the 880 version 12. So if you've used that previously or currently, and you may be looking for something a little bit lighter underneath the foot and with a little bit more spring on toe off, let's have a look at the Glycerin 20s. Okay guys, in summarising, Brooks Glycerin 20, very cushioned, very stable shoe, targeting you neutral runners out there, or some of you who mildly supinate, whether you hit the ground in your heel, your midfoot, or your forefoot. This is an incredibly versatile cushioned shoe. I didn't say this in my review, but if you're someone that likes to use slightly heavier shoes for your progressive runs or a couple of your speed workouts, you can still use the Glycerin 20. Now I feel more than ever because of that new DNA Loft version 3 or that new nitrogen infused midsole. It does have a nice snappy feel on toe off. And if you're an orthotic wearer and you have slipped your orthotics into the Glycerins in the past, well, guess what? You can do that quite comfortably too in the Glycerin 20. Guys, if you've got any questions about this shoe or any other shoes in this category, drop us a comment in the section below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit that red button, hit the bell, stay notified, and we'll keep knocking out these shoe reviews for you, the running community all over the world. And until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we'll see you out on the road. Take care.